15 where I'm at. All right, y'all. So just dropped a quick poll in the chat. We went ahead and people voted, said they wanted to go over the trades from today. So what I'm gonna do is pull up the Discord on my phone, have Zoom on my laptop, and just go through the call outs that I took, pretty much everything that I called, look at the reasoning behind them, and we'll go from there. So starting with today, I opened up with the REV, the Revlon call swings. So those ended up going for 100% today. There was also another entry that I gave in the chat. I gave a screenshot explanation. That was an inside bar break on the 5 minute, and that occurred right here. All right, so rolled into the morning up 30%, gave a trim alert, 50% by 8:55. And then around 10:05, it looks like that's when I sent that, so around 10. Yep. So that's when I sent this inside bar alert on the retest. So right here, we have an inside bar on the 5 minute. I'll zoom in on that. All right, and so this wasn't a new entry for me. This would have caused me to go ahead and pull out the trade, right? But because I was already in it, basically what I did was I just came to the chart, said, okay, cool, we have an inside bar forming here, a double inside formed here. So we can either take the break of it, or because I was already in it, I just said, if we come back down and we drop further below here, right, breaking down to that downside on the inside bar, then I'm gonna go ahead and close the trade out. And that's gonna be my stop loss. All right, however, we did end up breaking into the upside, which gained more profit. And that was the Rev trade. Ended up hitting 100% at one point. I think the last screenshot I sent to the group was for 86% or so. Yep, 86%. And that was Rev. Okay. Moving along. I called a SPY 5 minute trade. So SPY, we took calls, 14 calls. That was the first new call out of the day. And we took 30% on those. And that occurred over here. All right. So what I saw on SPY came to the 5 minute, and I saw these rejections of this area here, rejection, 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 right? So my whole philosophy on the trade was, once I can get a close, I wanted to get a close, and this was my original alert, was a close above this level, I would take calls, but I want to be a little extra aggressive. So I wanted to get a close just anywhere where these wicks were at, closing above those wicks to give me more confirmation that we're going to continue to have a bullish trend. All right. And so once we had this close here, that's when I gave the entry. That's when I took entry. And then we shot up pretty quickly right after. All right. So I think that trade was over in about maybe like 10 minutes or so. All right. So that was trade number 2, first trade for the day that was new. But second trade that we went ahead, took profit on. The third trade, because my phone is now in Central Time, I took at 11:42. And that was, looks like that was a bounce right here, breaking above this trend line and maybe the retest. So it's a little hard for me to tell exactly. Oh, I sent the screenshot. Look at me. All right, so let me go to the 1 minute. If y'all want to look at, I mean, I'm sure it helps doing the live, but of course, like that's why I try to put them in the chat so that y'all can also have like a static understanding of what occurred for me to take the trades. Okay, so this was based off the 1 minute. We came back, pulled back and retested this original resistance at support. It held, we pushed back up, and we started testing the trend line. This is, yep, so this is exactly where I took the trade at. So basically, once we broke above this trend line, I was looking calls. Then we came back, retested, I got in calls, and we just moved up fairly quickly after that, right? And that one ended up going 50%. I think once we had this bigger move come in here, and then again here. So this was one that went 50%. Then I ultimately Is that the put that I held? Or is that the call? That was the call. So yeah, this one went 50 again. Break above resistance, retest, close above, push off. And then we consolidate it before we continue, consolidate, continue, right? And we actually, again, retested this level, and then we broke above and closed above this level and continue higher. So we kept on going with that. Let me flip my time zone since I've changed time zones. All right. So we got puts at 12:30 on SPY. Oh, I closed SPY puts at 12:30. Got you. Signal SPY puts at 12:22 Central. So that is right here. All right. So what we see here is a head and shoulders on the 1 minute. All right. We got a head and shoulders on the 1 minute. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And what I did was I took an anticipated breakout of this head and shoulders, and I just rolled it down. All right. So when you're looking at measuring out your move in the head and shoulders, you go from the neckline to the head, flip it down. All right. So this was $1.09. Flip it down and get your profit target. So the initial profit target is right here. All right. What I did to grab some more out of this trade, because it went to 30% in about 2-3 minutes. As you see, this quick drop allowed for that to happen. What I did to get more of the trade, because I ended up taking profits at 59% is when I fully closed out, but it pushed up to, I think, like 66. I switched my chart over actually to a Heikin-Nashi chart, or Heikin, however they pronounce it. All right. So what I did to stay in the trade was, once we broke down and I switched to this Heikin-Nashi chart, I stayed in until we had some green candles, made a new lower high, and then, like I said in the channel, I was waiting for a retest of 409.10, which we got, right? So that was the ideal exit for me. We see it push down a little bit low before bouncing and then continuing to bounce again, forming another head and shoulders. So that was that trade though, right? That SPY, like I said, it retested and I closed out. So I closed out at 70% on the SPY 412 puts that I got up here, right? So switching over to Heikin-Nashi is something I don't do too often, but doing it in this instance allowed me to stay in my trade longer. And instead of getting out with the quick 30% that I promised Britt, we would go ahead and capture more of the move and, of course, make more money. And then we also bounced. And it looked like a little inverted head and shoulders as well. But that was that trade. After that, I'm gonna open up for questions too. So that was that one. Hit that for 70%. I took one more trade. 410 calls. Did I just go over all of them? We hit the 410, we hit the 412 puts, got rev, 412 calls and 410 calls. We had the calls here, and we had the calls here. So yeah, that was it. I only closed 4 trades today. I only opened up 3 new positions, although it felt like I was doing a lot. I guess it's because they just kept running. But what questions do y'all have about what we just looked at, what we went over, reasoning behind trades, reasoning for managing trades, how I manage them? If y'all got questions, pop them in the chat. I'm gonna let y'all unmute, actually. If y'all want to unmute, y'all can unmute as well.
Can you go over your reasoning for, there was a trade you did when you said an inside bar? I'm trying to make sure I get a good understanding of what I should be recognizing.
Sure. So from today, that was on Revlon, and that came right here. All right. So are you familiar with what an inside bar is?
Just recently learned.
Okay.
So this is really new to me.
Okay, cool. So no problem. So an inside bar is where you have one candle prints, right? And then the candle that follows that candle is inside of the previous candle, right? So if you're looking at a mathematical standpoint, the high and low of the latest candle must be below the high and low of the previous candle, causing it to be inside. And that's what you see right here. And I'll zoom in a little bit more so it's a little clearer. All right, so what you see here is we have this big green 5-minute bar, and then we have this red candle print, but it's completely inside of this 5-minute. So what you'll see with inside candles or inside bars is it creates a range that can act as support and resistance in the consolidation. But then it also allows you to take trades on a breakout, right? So once you broke above here, this candle shot up very strong. All right, so that's how I was looking at trading this for a scalp, but I didn't scalp it because I was already in it. But you can trade inside bars over and over again. I traded some, I think, yesterday on SPY or SPX. Does that help?
I'm sorry. Yeah, yes, it does. I just want to make sure. So the entry on here, if I was trading the inside bar, would have been above the yellow line.
Correct. The entry would have been, if you were just trading the inside bar break, then your
Mhm.
entry would have been right here. Right.
Okay.
You would have hopped in right here. Unfortunately, this one quickly reversed after that break. So you have this candle as indecision right after. And it flipped right back down. And I remember I called an exit on this candle, and then somebody in the chat asked when should they exit, and it flipped right after. So
Actually, when you called that exit today, I traded on paper trade and I took it going down, which turned out to be really good. But I'm thinking, oh darn, I should have took it on my live account.
oh, you
But
got puts?
I took puts on the dummy account.
Nice. That's smart. That's a good put trade, especially because this candle, although it didn't have a full body close down here, technically this candle was a bearish engulfing, and it engulfed the previous two candles. It engulfed the previous 4 candles. Even though it came back up with the close. So I think that's a very good put trade. Did you take it all the way back down? Get out
No, I did not. I actually got out at the bottom of the green candle because I wasn't sure if it was going to keep going or not.
right here.
Yes.
That's good. That's a very good trade. That's a very good trade. That's very good. Good job. Made me wish I took that trade. What other questions do we have? What other questions? Anything? Let's look at what I did yesterday since we're here. So yesterday I had the SPX calls and the SPY put. Damn, I really do chart out everything that I do and see it. All right, so I traded SPX. I traded SPX calls, and that was 9 a.m. Central where I sent it out. So 9 a.m. Central, we got inside bars on the 1 minute. This is today. No wonder. That don't seem right. All right. Yesterday, 9 a.m. Got you. So here's where I took an inside bar trade yesterday. And I grabbed 20%, I think 25% on SPX. So same concept we were just talking about, the inside candle, where we have this big green candle here. All right, and I always mark out the low, and I'll mark out the high, and then we start ranging inside. All right, so these are all inside of this candle, and then we get the break. All right, so once we get the break above, we can take our entry as soon as it breaks. So what I do is I set alerts for the price so that instead of me having to come, if I'm not sitting here looking at the chart, Instead of me having to come and see when it's gonna hit it and then come back and go to my phone and open a brokerage or open a brokerage on the laptop. As soon as it triggers, I already have my account open. As soon as it triggers, doop, SPY just hit the thing. I'm in. All right. And I'll set this one I call it a 20% take profit, 10% stop loss. And it went up, grabbed 20% very quick. And that was out. We ended up getting 25% on that one. And then the puts that I had, the ones that went 540% on SPY yesterday. I want to say I was on a 5. Yeah, I was on a 5. So I was on the 5 on SPY. And what we were looking at on the 5 on SPY, see if I can get these volume bars to look a little bigger. So what I looked at on SPY was this, what was it? I was looking at like a triple top, I think. All right, right here, right? So we see the test of 413.02. We see the rejection right here, the same area. We get a little pop above, but it rejects back down. All right, so these is rejection, 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 right? So we're seeing that overall, when we come up to this area around 413, no real strength holds here. All right, we see the rejections here as well, around 412.85. So what I looked at was looking at those rejections, and then I was also looking at the volume since I had the volume pulled up, and I was noticing that on our moves up, our volume was starting to decrease. It's a little hard for me to know if I can make it easier to see. So I'm trying to make it bigger. I don't know how to do it. But the volume was decreasing. And so that just led me to believe that this move wasn't really that strong. Right. So I don't know if you do volume divergence or not, but in my head, I thought about divergences. And I said, okay, so we have a price holding here, but volume is diminishing, right? So that's letting me know. In my head, I was like, okay, so that means that this isn't gonna hold up. Because it's not big buys or sells. It's not really anybody buying this stuff to keep it up there. So if we're moving up, low volume, it's not gonna hold. And that's what ultimately caused me to get the 410 put lottos that went 545%. And we pulled back to test the pre-market low. I believe this is why I had that level set. So around this level was a support level. You can see here, resistance, support, support. All right, support area. So that was the final take profit was right here. All right, so those are my trades from today. Those are my trades from yesterday. If we have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You can unmute, you can put them in the chat. But if we don't have any questions within the next 45 seconds or so, then I'll post this recording in the chat and I'll hop off. Let me know. Question in the chat. What indicator is that you have that's showing price? Pivot points high, low. Appreciate you, Quinn. They're going crazy as always. Appreciate you, bro. So when I'm trading, usually this is the only thing that's actively on my chart. You might see sometimes like it'll say I got like 5, 6. It might say I got like 8 indicators up. But when I'm trading, I don't have a bunch of stuff on my chart. I like to keep it really simple. But this is what I have pulled up. It's pivot points high, low. And a lot of times I have it set to that was my 45-second time. A lot of times I have it set to 5 or 3. 3 can get a little crowded, but 5 can give me enough points so that I can just easily identify what the highs are and what the lows are without me having to come and hold my cursor over every single bar and try to figure out what's what. So That's why I use that. And then I have volume on here, which I don't really use too often, but I've been thinking maybe I can find some benefit for it. I know how to use it, I think, but I think I can hone it a little better. It might be something that I use, and then I'll just use price and volume. But more often than not, I'm just looking at price. The inside bars have to be ascending for the call. No, so you could trade puts on them too. Oh, absolutely, you could trade puts on them. So here's an example. Mm, 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 mm. Let's find an inside bar, bearish. No, we're gonna find one. To answer your question, no, they don't have to go up. I'm trying to find one that's going down. It is usually better to trade them in the direction of the overall trend. So if you're in the uptrend, you would kind of want to lean more towards trading the inside bar breakout in the same direction. But you can take them either way. But oftentimes they're like pauses in trend. Yeah. This one looks like it would have been a failed inside breakout move. All right, we had the low here. This is 401. Oh, never mind. So this would have triggered you for calls technically, because it's 7 cents higher than here. So you would trigger for calls. Uh, you bounced around for a minute, but then the calls ultimately paid off. What we got? Is the inside bar the same as bullish and bearish engulfing candles? No. It's the opposite. So to have an inside bar, you have to have an engulfing candle come before it. Right. So an inside bar is man, why is it so hard to find one, find one when you need one? All right, so here's the inside bar. Here's a bullish engulfing. All right. So you want your bullish engulfing candles to really look like this, where it just moves up the whole way through. But this is a bullish candle that fully engulfs. I don't know how to make it go the other way. That fully engulfs the previous candle, right? Making it bullish engulfing. So this candle is an inside bar to this candle, but you're not gonna make a move on this candle because it's already happened, right? You want your inside bar to be to the right of the candle you're trading, or your bullish or bearish engulfing is going to be to the right of the inside bar. So the flip flop. Good question. Good question. Good question. Good question. What else we got? What else we got? I think it's about time I clean this chart off. Gee, what was all this? What other questions we got? Nothing?
Is there a video showing how to get the tags? Oh my gosh.
Tags.
The high and low tags with your
This is it right here. This is it. That's all that is. Indicators. pivot point, high, low. And then you can adjust them for it to go off, how many bars is it going to base it off of. Like I said, once you, especially if you're trading on like a 1 minute chart, once you have like below 5, I think 5 is kind of a good sweet spot. Once you start taking it lower, you kind of just get a bunch of stuff on the chart. And this is why, I guess this is why I don't like using indicators too often, because now I just feel like it's too much going on. It's too many price points. It's too much. But yeah, this is it. Pivot points, high, low. Cool. All right, y'all. Avery's book club starts in 20 minutes. I'm gonna hop on there, see how it's going. Thanks for hopping on. Glad I could help. Post this in the chat. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day.